Laura, the Library Lady, and welcome to today's episode. I am wearing pink in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is October, and I salute all of those individuals who are breast cancer survivors, and for all of those families who have lost a loved one due to breast cancer, please know you have my condolences. Well, today we're going to jump right in. I have a very special book. It is titled Charlie the Caterpillar, and it's by someone who's very famous. In fact, this person is no longer with us, but I used to watch him when I was very young. He starred in many, many movies, and he did a lot of animation, and I didn't know it until I did some research. He wrote a number of picture books, and he also had a number of cookbooks, and he was a comedian. I don't know if you can read his name, but I am talking about actor and comedian Dom De Luise, and his whole family is into acting. So the name of this book, as you can see, is Charlie the Caterpillar, and it's illustrated by Christopher Santoro. And I did some research on Mr. Santoro, and he has been a book illustrator for over 30 years, and he did about 10 books with Mr. De Luise. And I think Mr. De Luise, Dom De Luise, did about 20 children's books, and when I did research on him, he did about 10 or 15 cookbooks. So people are so multi-talented. And we see Charlie the Caterpillar jumping away at a leash. So let's jump right in and see what this story is about. I'm going to put on my glasses because it's small print. And this book is recommended for children ages 3 to about 8 years old. And it just depends on if your child is reading it themselves or you're reading it to them, or both. And we see Charlie. Oh, isn't this a beautiful picture? The flower. Miss Santoro did a beautiful job in illustrating. It says here, one day, one bright and sunny day, Charlie the Caterpillar was born. The world looked very, very big to Charlie because he was very, very, very small, because he was just born. And we see that Charlie's here in the flower, and he crawls out onto a leaf. Charlie soon found out how delicious green things tasted, and he was nibbling on a blade of grass. He could hear the wind whistling and the birds singing. He smiled. He was glad to be alive. Charlie decided to set out and see the world. We see Charlie right here. So he looked left, and he looked right, and then he went straight ahead. And you see that Charlie did a lot of munching on the grass, and he's heading straight ahead. Soon Charlie saw 2 monkeys. "Hi," said Charlie. "What are you doing?" And we see the 2 monkeys here. "We're playing cards," they said. "Oh," said Charlie, "that sounds like fun. Can I play too?" "No, you can't," said the monkeys. "Why not?" asked Charlie. "Because you're an ugly caterpillar. Now get out of here." Charlie, for the very first time in his young life, felt bad. He sighed, and he would have shrugged his shoulders, but he didn't have any. He looked to his left, and he looked to his right, and he went straight ahead. So we see the monkeys and their cards and their peanuts, and we see them playing cards, and we see them being very rude to Charlie. Pretty soon he saw 2 rabbits hopping around. "Hi," said Charlie. "What are you doing?" "We're playing tennis," they said, "Oh," said Charlie, "that looks like fun. Can I play too?" "No, you can't," said the rabbits. "Why not?" asked Charlie. "Because you're an ugly caterpillar, and we don't play with caterpillars, especially ugly ones. Now, get out of here." Now, for the second time in his young life, Charlie felt bad, very bad. His feelings were hurt. "What is ugly?" wondered Charlie. He didn't feel ugly. He looked to his left and he looked to his right and he went straight ahead. Now I'm going to stop right there and pull my glasses off. And this is a wonderful book because it talks about how a person feels about themselves. Charlie felt really good about himself. And he kept hearing this word, ugly. And he didn't even know what it meant. It wasn't even a part of his vocabulary. And the second time he was called that word, he started to feel bad, really bad, because he was rejected based on something he had absolutely no control of. So the rabbits and the monkeys didn't even give Charlie a chance. They took one look at him, and because he was different from how they looked, they made a judgment. They used a bad word. Well, ugly is not a bad word. It's just not a nice word. It's not profanity. And they rejected him. They never got to know anything about Charlie. So when you read this with your children, parents, you have to talk about how we look on the outside is one thing, but how do we behave from the inside out? And who do we call ugly, and who judges that? And who makes the rules on who's pretty and who's ugly? Beauty is truly in the eyes of the beholder. But you know what I love about Charlie? He would look left, he would look right, but guess what? He kept going straight ahead. And even though he met other animals who were rude to him, he never gave up. He may have felt bad, and he may not have understood what ugly meant, but he still believed in himself. And you know what happens to caterpillars, right? That's right. They turn into butterflies. And after Charlie turns into a butterfly, he sees all these animals again. But they all respond to him differently. Why? That's something that you and your child can talk about together. Because on the inside, Charlie is exactly the same, except maybe a little smarter and wiser because of his hurt feelings. So this is a wonderful book. We lost Dom De Luise in 2009, but he has 3 sons and his wife who are still in the business of entertainment. And so I would recommend this book very highly. And just to give you a little bit of a sneak peek, we see Charlie here has a butterfly. And guess who he sees? A caterpillar crying. We all know why. Because that caterpillar was probably called ugly. And because Charlie had already been through that, Charlie could be a shoulder or a wing to cry on. So when we go through something difficult and we come out on the other side, we always have the tools we need to help someone else. We want to be compassionate and caring like Charlie. What a wonderful book. Thank you, Dom De Luise. And thank you, Mr. Santoro, for beautiful illustrations. This book is wonderful, words and pictures. So, my recommendation, 5 stars. You should definitely get this book, and if you can't get it, make sure you go to the public library. That's my favorite spot for a book. Also look on Amazon.com. I did that, and look for my review there as well. And of course, you could go to your favorite bookstore and buy this book. Hopefully it's not out of print because it was released back in the 90s, I think 1996. But it is an outstanding book. Happy reading!